Content presented in Cheshire Corners is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult a legal professional if you have any questions or concerns about the content of this disclaimer, this series, or the legal implications surrounding psychedelic substances in your jurisdiction.
Most people simply don't know that cactus are psychedelic. Generally, I remind people of the 60s, and then they remember cacti, and that's what kind of starts the whole conversation. The idea that they're all considered wachuma, yes, they're all considered wachuma, except they're all different species, so we should not be considering them all the same thing. Because they're cactus, people think they don't want a lot of water and that they like growing in tight spaces without knowing that these are jungle plants. And so if you treat a jungle plant like a jungle plant, my cacti can grow up to 2 feet per year. In teepee with Native Americans, and we're talking about cacti, it's always interesting to me that they don't know that there's multiple species of cacti. And so even the people who are the closest to the cacti and work with the cacti, that's how far the information is. And there are many species of cacti. Well, let me say this. So I'm a botanist, I'm a biologist.
I'm a geologist.
I'm not a chemist.
Okay.
I don't trust my own chemistry because I'm not a chemist.
Welcome to Cheshire Corners. I'm the AI clone of Rita Salyuk, your host, as we trip through the looking glass. Today, we're joined by Max Montrose, a botanical educator with over 20 years of experience and the founder of the Trichome Institute. In this talk, Max explores the often overlooked world of cactus, unpacking the science, history, and taxonomy behind these remarkable plants and how decades of assumptions have shaped our understanding of them through an educational, botanical lens.
It's also interesting right now that cactus is not being looked at for therapeutic purposes. So if you go to these psychedelic conferences, it's all about mushrooms. Why cactus is not on that train is interesting, and it's because people just don't really know anything about psychedelic cactus. The testing is atrocious or just entirely missing, and that's what I'll be talking about more today. So essentially, there's about a 50-year lapse in psychedelic cactus research. It started in the 60s and 70s with just a few guys, and they were lab testing a few cacti, a few columnar types, and beginning to find what was going on. The issue with their lab work is in the 60s and 70s, the tools that they were using to measure these chemicals are considered archaic today. And we really can't rely on the data from the 60s and 70s because none of that data was coupled with DNA. How do you know that that cactus that you lab tested that has that alkaloid constituency is that cactus? Especially with so much cactus confusion. So almost all of the work that had been done in the 60s and 70s, is it relevant? Is it still something we should pay attention to? There was a study in 2010, which is the most recent. That study really is just looking at many different strains of San Pedro and a couple crosses. It's not actually trying to analyze each and every individual species. So that work still has not even been done today. You know a lot about cactus. Have you heard the Echinopsis Trichocereus debate? Which do you think it is? Trichocereus. So there's this debate. Is it Trichocereus or is it Echinopsis? So I said Echinopsis bridgesii, and what comes up is Echinopsis langiniformis. And if you look at the overview, the scientific name is actually Echinopsis langiniformis. But then you can see the confusion because over here, It says it's the Bolivian torch, which is true. And it says it's a Trichocereus Bridgesii, which is true. And the reason why it's not actually Echinopsis is because a plant that looks like that is an Echinopsis plant. And the only reason why this actually has the scientific name of Echinopsis is because a few scientists one day decided that these two very different types of cacti have a similar looking flower. So because their flower looks the same, they must be the same species. No DNA testing, no lineage, nothing. So these are what Echinopsis look like. They are very small cactuses with lots of ribs and lots of spines. They look nothing like the cacti that are psychedelic. They are not tall columns. They are not columnars. Those are Echinopsis, which is why the scientists got it wrong, trying to call them Bridgesii. This is what it should be called. It is Trichocereus, right? Who here knows what the name trichome comes from? You guys know cannabis trichomes, glandular trichomes, capitate stalk trichomes, sessile trichomes, bulbous trichomes. The word trichome is ancient Greek for the word hair, trichoma. And if you look at some of the cacti, they grow hair right on the base of the flower. So the idea that it's a trichome producing plant, because it is, or the idea that it's a Trichocereus, it makes a whole lot of sense. They are not these very small spiny Echinopsis plants. They are these very large columnar cacti plants. But that is just to demonstrate to you how atrocious the cactus science is right now. The highest level of science to this day will say scientifically they're Echinopsis. They're not even close to Echinopsis. This will end the Echinopsis debate. This is going to tell you exactly which scientists did what type of horrific science to just decide that we're going to collapse an entire species, family, and order of cacti that do not grow in the same region, do not grow in the same way, do not produce the same alkaloids, or even have similar DNA. This is why they're not Echinopsis. It's Trichocereus. Cacti has many different species. The main species of cacti is Lephopora williamsi. My favorite is Caspitosa, which is a variety of cacti that grows one button out of every single areola. So it's a fractal pattern cacti. So it's cactus. It grows cactus out of each little type of its cacti. And the way that you tell the difference is the shape of them. They're very unique form, but the biggest indication is the color of the flower. So if you have a flowering Lephopora diffusa, its flower is really big and white. If you have a flowering williamsi or a taxana, it's going to have a little tiny pink flower. There's also Jordania and a bunch of other cacti species. Then you have a ton of other cacti that are psychoactive or psychedelic that have no mescaline in them. I highlighted Eriocarpus myriostigma. This is a sacred plant medicine that is not psychedelic, that natives use in different ways. And how many non-psychedelic cacti types are there that are psychoactive? A ton. There are a ton of cactus in this world that are psychedelic and or psychoactive. Strain names. Nobody hates strain names more than me. If you go to YouTube, you can watch me go secret shopping in Denver, Colorado for Blue Dream. And I buy 6 different types of Blue Dream. I bring it back to the office and show you how they're all different and therefore not Blue Dream. So when we're giving medicine to patients, right, this is what my whole book is about, and the cannabis sommelier thing, and like how we circumvent these problems. So believe me, I hate strain names. I'm that guy. But strain names are actually really necessary, more necessary in the world of cactus than anything. And that's because breeding cactus has just absolutely exploded. And so the level of hybridization that's happening in California and Australia specifically, what they're doing is they're using the actual tags from nature combined with the people's names and where they're coming from so that you actually understand what it is that you have. So cacti strains are becoming more important because people are crossbreeding psychedelic cactus. So we need tracking, which is also why we need to do DNA and do DNA tracking in Lineage, okay? So strain names for cacti are very important. And I'll give you another really good example. These are all strain names of cacti, okay? So this is a great example of the most classic cacti names. It's very common to see Tom Jules. It's very common to see lumberjack. Yowie, maybe. Psycho is another really common one. Okay, who won the cup last year? This is a strain name example, okay? So if we look at third place, Trichocereus bridgesii, Cactus K. So someone like me, I know exactly what that means. That's the Bolivian torch. And it might be from a strain by Kate. So Trichocereus bridgesii is a great strain name because I know what that is. I know what that means. It's a species of cactus, right? Now, when we go to second place, CSD. Do you know what that stands for? Neither do I. I have no idea what that is. That's a problem. So your strain name, CSD, is it a Trichocereus? Is it from San Diego? Is your name Colin and you live in San Diego and that's what you called your plant? Like, what is CSD? I literally do not know. And that's a problem, right? Now, TBM short form. TB is for Trichocereus bridgesii. When Trichocereus bridgesii is morphological in a vertical state, it's called Monstrosa, Monstrose, which is very close to my last name, Montrose. I'm Montrose, that's Monstrose. So when it comes to strain names, right? What do you think people are gonna call this thing? Echinopsis, Trichocereus, bridgesii, var monstrosa, var cristata, var variegata, long form? No. Therefore, I'm naming it Andro Delic. Andro Delic stands for androgynous psychedelic, one name. So if you had the vertical morphology, the horizontal morphology, and the color morphology, you can have an Andro Delic, a triple morphological psychedelic cactus. That's Peruvianus cross-pachynoid. That's the Chalinensis, which I'll get to. This is Andro Delic, bridgesii, Macrogonus, pachynoid, spachinus, wild bridgesii from the Andes, and Peruvianus. So what's really cool is Trichocereus chalinensis. That's the chalinensis, and if you can tell, it's got bright red needles only on the top of its head. So it's a red-headed San Pedro. And so a part of this event is more than just seeing who has the coolest stuff, who has the best stuff. We're actually like making scientific history here with what we're doing. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to Cheshire Corners. Tell me what you think in the comments. And as always, don't get psyched out.